Hi, I'm Jennifer Pattee.
Hi, I'm Brenden Pattee.
So we are just recording a short video to introduce ourselves for anyone who may be interested who couldn't attend one of the meet and greet calls over Zoom. So a little about ourselves. First, we dressed in theme in, I don't know if you can see, but
Potatoes.
our potato shirts here. Um, those are to help you remember that we met in Idaho, which is where I'm from. I grew up in Idaho, lived there most of my life. But what gets confusing in our story is that last week we moved to San Pedro from Iowa. Not potatoes, more corn there. But we are not from Iowa. We lived in the Midwest for a few years while I was working at the University of Dubuque as a minister there for the Presbyterian Church. And we are very excited now to be back out west. My family is mostly in Idaho, except for my mom, who moved here to San Pedro with us, and Brenden.
Most of my family is in Spokane, Washington, so east side of Washington, almost Idaho, not
Mm-hmm.
quite. And yes, very happy to be back out west, where the winters will not be so brutally cold.
Good. So the other thing about our shirts is these are both shirts that we got from running half marathons in Idaho. So that's one of the things that we really enjoy doing together is exercising and being outside. We love the weather here that will allow us more months of exercising outside. Personally, I like to walk. I like to hike. Brenden.
Swimming, kayaking, hiking, biking, you name it, I'll try it.
Um, let's see. So some other things that we were asked about in the meet and greets. How are we liking San Pedro? We're giving it 2 thumbs up. We are on day
5.
5. Day 5.
Vacation day 5.
Vacation day 5 in San Pedro. The one thing I would say about this vacation is it has a lot more boxes than when we normally go on vacation.
The cat loves it.
And the cat loves it. Um, but we walk around just amazed at all the plant life. We'll be walking down the street and go, oh, that's a lemon tree. Wait, is that a lemon tree? Oh, that's an orange tree. Oh, I don't even know what that tree is. And that's just very exciting for us.
There's a fig tree in the backyard, and we'd never had figs, but now we have.
We'd never seen figs, and now we have picked figs. So we're loving that. Part of why I'm especially excited about this is that about 9 or 10 years ago, I was working for a company that contracted with the Yellow Pages and helped deliver phone books. And I was in a different city in California for 6 weeks at a time. And so I actually did 3 rounds in San Pedro, or I lived in San Pedro while we served Los Angeles. And so I attended First Press San Pedro during those times. And I just like everyone to know that part of the reason why, most of the reason why I'm here is because San Pedro was what I believed a church should be. Just welcomed me absolutely with warmth and love. I was in my 20s at the time. It was kind of a lonely job, being in a city for 6 weeks at a time. And in most communities, I really had a hard time plugging in. But in San Pedro, people invited me to dinner. I sang in the choir for a while. It was just such a warm experience that I've looked forward to coming back to this community for a long time. And so Brenden and I, we were actually on vacation in San Diego in January or February. And in Iowa at that time, it was winter and very cold. And Brenden said, I might just stay here and not come back. So I said, okay, let's see what jobs there are in California. And when I saw that your church was looking for a pastor, I said, Brenden, I know this church. I know these people. And so here we are in San Pedro. So this to me is just like returning to a piece of my heart. I am so happy to be here. Let's see, what else about us? Brenden, what have you done for work?
A lot of business analysis, user experience, user design, website design. In Iowa, I was teaching at the University of Dubuque, mathematics, communications, and personal finance.
Okay. How do you like teaching, Brenden?
Well, it's quite exciting and fun because you actually learn a lot while you teach a lot, so that's always nice.
Yep.
What about you? Tell me about your background.
Oh, okay, thank you. I would love to. So this is so silly, like us interviewing each other. um, so I started out in education. I studied math and music in college, and then I moved to New York City to be a high school teacher there. I did that for a few years. My dad's family is from New York City. He grew up there. And so it was a great opportunity for me to be near that side of the family, kind of get back to some of my roots. I accidentally bought an apartment I accidentally rented an apartment on the same block where my grandparents lived when they were first married. And so that was just sort of an interesting, I felt like I was a salmon swimming upstream to my spawning grounds, that I just ended up back in my grandparents' neighborhood without knowing that. And so I had that chance for a while. Then I moved back to Idaho. I worked for the state, for the Department of Education, over online learning with math and Spanish. Then I worked for the Department of Labor during the sort of economic meltdown of 2008. Same thing, doing research and analytics then more though, looking at what colleges were doing to prepare workers and what were the jobs that needed workers, how that matched up. And then I went and worked in the private sector for a while, still doing surveys and research, but more public opinion, and then doing political polling a lot. And that was sort of the point where I was volunteering a lot. I was sort of running myself ragged because my job, I didn't see how it was contributing to the community that well. And I thought, I need something more in my life. This isn't sustainable. So I was looking at going back to school again. At that point, I had my master's in education and I'd been a school administrator. And so I thought about education, but I just, nothing was really sparking interest in me that way. I knew I could do those things, but that's when I really started considering seminary. And so, asked around, sent out emails to everybody I knew who'd gone to seminary, and just really was affirmed that that's what I should do. So I applied to a few seminaries and told myself if I got into the distance program with Dubuque, that I would do that so that I could work still while I was in seminary. So that's what I did. I did the distance program for 4 years while I lived in Boise, Idaho still, and switched jobs and worked for child welfare. So I was the analyst that worked with the legislature for numbers on needs and staffing. I worked with social workers. Really got a feel for all the services and things, foster care, all of that around the state. So I did that. And then the University of Dubuque approached me as I was getting close to graduating and said they were looking for someone to be a pastor to faculty, to train them in education and methods and online learning, but also provide Bible studies and service opportunities and everything that a pastor would do. So I think one of the questions someone asked me if this was my first job as a pastor, which I would say it's not my first job as a pastor per se, but my first job as a pastor in a church building. So like I said, I was an ordained minister to the university, working primarily with the faculty and the staff. So one of the neat things here is at least at this place, everyone will know I'm the pastor, where there it was sort of confusing what my job was to people. But so that's sort of how we ended up in Iowa, was that job. We got married right before that. So we've been married just over 3 years now. Our move to California was our anniversary gift to ourselves. I think our movers came on our anniversary, right? Yep. So that's the only year we will be giving ourselves that gift of a move. Tell them how we met.
We met in Idaho, rafting on a river. We had a group of friends and mutual friends, and there were about 20 of us, and we ended up on the same raft, sat next to each other, and talked the whole way down the river about books. And that was all it needed.
And then I had just started seminary 2 weeks before that rafting trip. So I say Brenden knew what he was getting into when he met me, because I was already on this path. So I think that's most of what we covered in the meet and greets, at least some of the information about us. For those of you who couldn't be on the meet and greets, though, I can't wait to get to know you and hear some of your stories as well, some of your journey, how you've ended up here in the presence of all these other wonderful people at this worshiping community. So I look forward to that. I will be preaching on this Sunday. And if you have any questions about the congregation vote and all of that, please contact Cam Beck. Okay, thank you all. Bye.